Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Cecil Young, coming to you live from Stratford Soundview Media. I hope that you've probably enjoyed the program that I've been bringing to you for the last 3 years. As you know, I've been talking about issues pertaining to my civil rights being violated, okay, and as you know, it's been taking its toll on me to a point where I'm basically been drowned out, okay, in terms of how many times I have to keep saying somebody needs to look into my complaints. Well, I want to say today that I want to acknowledge the fact that the Human Rights Commission has taken my complaint and they're pursuing it, okay, by going to the governor's office, demanding that the governor respond to my issue pertaining to fraud of his people, those labor board commissioners that were involved in my case. I accused Gerald Weiner, Albert Murphy, all the above of violating my civil rights, okay, and I haven't heard anything from the governor pertaining to these complaints that I've been filing against these officials. And I conclude say to them, to the governor, okay, because you have not responded, it forced me to have to go to the Human Rights Commission, who now has taken my case and is going to pursue it on my behalf, okay, as well as Councilman Newton and Councilman Nita Martinez also had pursued the issue pertaining to my unjust termination to see if my civil rights were violated. Nevertheless, you, Mayor Joe Ganim, you, Governor Malloy, Governor Lamont, have not responded to my issue really fully. The mayor responded by having his chief Garnett look into the issue for a moment or so, but he couldn't get back with me with any final issue as to whether or not the mayor is going to pursue the other requests from the city council members that requested from him to respond to my issue. And because of that, okay, it forced me to now have to pursue the mayor. So now the mayor is going to be getting a summons or a subpoena or whatever. I don't know how the Human Rights is going to do this, but the mayor will be notified officially from the Human Rights Commission, as well as the governor will be notified officially. They have to respond to these issues. These are issues of public concern. It's an issue of taxpayers' concern, and they should not be thinking that they are above the law. And what troubles me is that this matter should have never even dragged on this long. Okay, and what troubles me is that now you find yourself, okay, being forced to say, Cecil, why are they doing this to you? I don't know why they're doing this to me, because I never done anything to anybody other than the fact of me speaking out about issues that concern all of our people. And it troubles me that I can be terminated for so-called speaking about issues that affect our community. Okay, here it is. What really agitates me to a point where I really feel sickness and upset over the fact that these labor board commissioners, who's supposed to be fair and impartial, okay, did not do that. They went along with the system because the system, as I found out through my investigation, through my research, is that, and I see why they've been going along with the city in terms of honoring the city instead of those public John Doe's individuals, okay, as myself was not honored and not respected. And they covered it up. I accused Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad of literally being involved in a cover-up in terms of my civil rights being violated. Albert Murphy as well. Now here it is, he got the letter here saying that I was terminated for what reason, my dear? Could you reflect on that letter? I want you to understand that I'm not saying this because I want these people punished or hurt, but they should not be allowed to get away with doing what they did to me. And I hope to God that someone will take this issue up to a point where they will finally be exposed and be put in a position where they're not able to do this again to anyone else. Oh, now I'm going to have my assistant read the first letter, which was pertaining to my termination. Now, you need to understand, this termination letter is what they fired me on, based on.
Well, there is a letter dated March 10th, previous to the 320 letter, in which I would read, by the City of Bridgeport Labor Relations and Benefit Administration. Dear Mr. Young, a copy of your doctor's note was received today in this office. However, documentation is still not acceptable as it does not provide a diagnosis/reasons for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered an unauthorized absence. In accordance with the city attendance policy, upon an unauthorized absence of 3 or more consecutive days, the employee will be deemed to have resigned from employment. You must return to work immediately, or you will be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. If you have any questions, please call your union rep. And this was sent by Jody L. Paul, Labor Relations Officer. On March 20th, dear Mr. Young, referencing unauthorized absence, you were advised via a letter from Labor Relations dated 3/10/2006 that you must return to work immediately, or you would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. As of Friday, 3/17/2006, you have not returned to work. There is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized, and your employment with the city is hereby terminated effective immediately.
Now, did you hear that? from the city of Bridgeport, Jody Paul, Labor Relations, Dr. Evans, said that my position with the city is hereby officially terminated for not coming to work, when in essence you have evidence showing that on March 16, 2006, evidence that I did come to work. And it troubles me that how could the labor board get involved in such a petty act in terms of them violating the public's trust by going along with the city, knowing that in black and white, it shows here that I came to work on the day in question, knowing that my supervisor signed me in, confirming the fact that I'll be going for a colon exam on the 17th. He also affirmed the fact that on the 12th, on the 16th, that I will be getting married on that day. Okay, and it troubled me to hear that I'm getting married on the same day that I was being terminated, and they accepted me back to work, yet and still they put it in that I was terminated for not coming to work. Now let's read the other letter. Now let's get the labor board. Albert Murphy, his cover-up. And his cover-up, Gerald Wayner, Albert Murphy, Mike Cohad was part of the cover-up team on this one here. Now here, listen again. Now here's what he's going to call it, literally strips of paper.
Generally speaking, the union also claims that the city has not sustained its burden of proving that the grievance is in violation of the attendance policy. Discussion. When considering disciplinary matters, it is universally recognized that the employer, as the moving party, bears the burden of providing the elements of the case against the grievant. Here, that case consists of demonstrating that the conduct proscribed, absenteeism, was a legitimate concern of the employer, that the employee was aware of the policy involved and has been shown to have violated it. Essentially, the grievant has been shown to have been absent for work for a period almost a month. He was therefore required to present a medical certificate explaining his absence. There does not appear to be any particular formality attached to the requirements of a medical certificate other than it be acceptable to the appointing authority, for example, the grievance superior. A further condition, presumably, would be that the appointing authority's acceptance of a certificate not be unreasonably withheld. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. Two of them were signed by a nurse, and the one was signed allegedly by a doctor did not contain any description of the grievance ailments or diagnoses of any kind. Interesting enough, in a separate missive, Dr. Walters noted that he was not treating the grievant for the condition on which the grievant was blaming his troubles, but had referred a grievant to a psychiatrist. The conclusions are inescapable that the grievant was or should have been aware of the policy, that he was in violation of it, and what the consequences would be of continued failure to comply with it. We further note the allegations of hostile work environment are not borne by the credible evidence presented.
Now, isn't that a shame and a disgrace that the labor workers literally sit up here and call my doctor's note literally strips of paper? I mean, come on. And then to say that my doctor was never treating me for the situation that I was dealing with? Come on, how can you say that? It's very clearly said that Dr. Walters had been treating me for several years and referred me to Dr. Wayne, who's a clinical psychiatrist, okay? And for him to sit there and the labor board chairman and say that he was not treating me, and he even said Dr. Walters said he wasn't treating me. That's a damn lie. Okay, and to say that he literally sent, that I showed up with straps of paper, this is the doctor's note. Okay, here was the doctor's note asking on that date that I'd be out. But because I didn't put down the diagnosis as to what I was being treated for, they did not accept that. They told me that was not good enough. They want to know exactly what I was being treated for. So they forced me to tell them what I was being treated for. I told them what I was being treated for, extreme anxiety. And they still went ahead and forward and act like I didn't come to work and terminated me. I even know they have evidence showing that I was at work. Evidence shown by my supervisor confirming the fact that I was at work on that date in question. And to turn around here and to disregard my doctor's note and literally call it straps of paper? How do you fax over strips of paper in someone's sign? How do you do that? I mean, they literally said that. And they said it why? Because of the fraud. They got paid. Gerald Wayner, Albert Murphy, Mike Cohead got paid. Now here it is, Mike Cohead. He was a part of the termination board. There are 3 board members that sat down in here in this case. One went in my favor, the other 2 went against me. Albert Murphy and Mike Cohead went against me. Why did Mike Cohead go against me? Why? Because he act like he didn't know nothing about it. Now here it is, Mike Cohead is on the medical part, being paid another $575 pertaining to my benefits being denied me because employees who put in agreements within a period of time have a right to continue their medical benefits, which I did do so. Mike Cohead knew that, yet and still he sat on this board and got paid several different times going to hearings pertaining to whether or not was the city justifiable in terminating me and denying me my medical benefits. It's evidence that they denied me that, okay? And they denied me that because of what? Because of a hate? Because they was aggravated over the fact that I complained about these piles of terminated dirt piles? Okay, come on, they committed fraud. And I'm saying to Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohead, I don't take this lightly by accusing you of committing fraud. I don't take this lightly, Albert Murphy, by calling you for violating my civil rights. And that's why I'm saying I pray to God that the Civil Rights Division will tell the truth, will bring it all out. I tried to get it out in court. I couldn't get it out in court. Why? Because of the power, the connection that you have with the court? Okay, come on, that's the reason why I couldn't get it out? And you look at it here again, like I said, Mike Cohead, all right? He's been on that board for almost 20-something years. Gerald Wayner been on the board for almost 20-something years. Okay, they know the procedures. Any employee who files a grievance within a timely fashion have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file a grievance. I did do so. Why would Mike Cohead get paid to have 4 different hearings with Gerald Wayner, okay, knowing good and well that there shouldn't have been no hearing? Okay, there shouldn't have been no hearing. I should have been automatically, my benefits honored. They wasn't honored until what, after 2008? What, 2020? When did they honor it? Okay, I didn't know that they honored my benefits until 2024, okay? And I come to find out that they finally paid it. Why? They paid it because they shouldn't have denied it in the beginning. But they denied it in the beginning because they was angry, they was mad, and they wanted to hurt me. And they did hurt me. They hurt my family. They destroyed my family to a great degree. And I'm saying to the state of Connecticut, to the powers that be, if anything I said here wasn't truth, can't be backed up, well, I said lock me up, accuse me of perjury, accuse me of slander, whatever you want to do it, but ring me out. If anything I said I can't back up. And to turn around here to insult me, knowing that I asked for a medical leave of absence. I asked for a medical leave of absence, huh? Jody Paul, all right? I mean, come on, why would my medical leave of absence being denied me? Huh? Come on. Huh? Come on, why would I be denied? Janet Finch, why would my benefits be denied me? For what? Because I dared to care? Because I dared to complain? All right, now you can read the reflection there.
Okay, March 17, 2006, a letter from Labor Relations and Benefits. Dear Mr. Young, our office is in receipt of your application for family and medical leave. Based upon the reason for your leave that you provided, your request has been denied.
Extreme anxiety is not worthy enough to be out for. Huh? Come on, how dare you? They did that to me and you got away with it. Why? Go ahead.
Your reason for leave does not meet the requirements of a serious health condition or any other reason for leave as defined under Family and Medical Leave Act. If you have any questions regarding this decision, please contact the Office of Labor Relations, Janet M. Finch.
All right, and that's what troubles me. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some excerpts of Dr. Evans. Okay, all right, and Jody Paul and Albert Murphy and all the above. Now, can you believe that's Mike Cohead saying? Stop for a second. Now, this is Mike Cohead now. He's down here with Mr. Murphy. He's going along with Murphy. Now, here's the same Mike Cohead quoting that Mr. Murphy said, well, Mr. Murphy, and you lied on me, Mike Cohead. You know good and well I came to work because I got paid for coming to work on that date. And for you to sit here with Albert Murphy and sit here and agree with him, all right, that I didn't come to work, when you know good and well I did come to work, and for you to get paid, Mike Cohead, twice, you got paid from Albert Murphy in the beginning, all right, that wasn't good enough for you. Then you want to get paid down here on the medical part, when you know good and well medical employees have a right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance in a timely fashion. You know, I did so. And to turn around here and ignore that, okay, is a shame and a disgrace. And that's why I say to you, there's no way in the world that this should happen like this happened to me. You know, there in the world that this should have happened. And that's why I say to you, Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohead, come on, you know you committed fraud. You know what you did to me. You violated the public trust. And I'm saying the lady has not sang. I'm waiting for Lady Justice to give me the justice that I've been denied. All right? We to give me the justice I've been denied. Mike Cohat, shame on you. All right? It was 3 board members that made the decision to rule against me in the city. There was 2 of them that ruled against me, Mike Cohat and Albert Murphy. They ruled against me. Why? Because they're in bed with the city. They've been doing this for years probably. I'm sure they've been doing it for years. Because for them to do me like they did me and to think they can get away with it just like that, no, they can't. And the Human Rights Commission had filed a complaint on my behalf against the governor, against Joe Ganim, the mayor of the city of Bridgeport, okay? And I'm asking the Connecticut Post, and I'm asking those of them that are out there, okay, that hear me talk about this issue, to ask the Connecticut Post, will they please pursue these matters, pursue these allegations? These people here violated the public's trust. If we can go after those who've been violated with the election fraud and election absentee ballots and all the above, if you think that was news, this should be news, to have the labor board commissioners rule along with the city of Bridgeport to cover up their unethical taxes that they used against me. That was called what you call a hate. That's a hate crime. That's a crime. That's hate. How dare you take away my medical benefits, knowing good and well that medical persons who are terminated have a right to continue their benefits. And you got paid knowing that. Why did you have 3 hearings? Look at my court. He got paid 3 different times. What? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times he got paid over whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me or not. Oh, come on, man. You know you had no right to hold that up and got paid. Look at here. He's a veteran. He's been there for years. Look at Mike Cohen. He's been there for years, getting 20 years. Gerald Wayner, been there for years. They know the law. If a union employee files a grievance, they have a right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance. Why come and had to take them 3 or 4 more years after my termination to okay the benefits and to finally pay my dental benefits that they were not being paid back then in 2006? Why did they do that and get away with that? They should not be allowed to get away with that kind of fraud. And that's what they're doing. And I'm pleading with you, keep in the back of your mind that also too, I want to also end with the show with this here saying that the producer I had, the producer I have been doing this show, okay, is not have nothing to do with me personally putting this show on. I paid for this show for the last 3 years out of my own pocket. I paid for it out of my own pocket because as a community activist, I've always spoke out about our issues and our people in our community. Okay, so I want to say that the one who's been producing this show for the last 3 years, I paid for the show to be on the air. I paid for the person to produce this show for me. And no longer will he be able to do that anymore because of the fact that he's worried about the fact that there may be repercussions to him behind him covering the show. But again, it's not his fault. He covered the show and I paid him for covering the show. He did what he usually do for people who come here with shows that want to be put on the air, and he does what he's supposed to do, and that's what he got paid for. But he had no right and have no involvement with me personally going after Mike Coed, going after Gerald Wayner, going after those who violated the public trust. And I'm saying this is me personally, Cecil Young, doing this because of what they did to me. They took away my rights. They violated the public trust. They allowed these terminated dirt piles to be left in a building where kids played on top of, and God only knows what kids might have came down on, went behind playing on these piles. And again, I say to you, thank God for the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, okay, who pursued this complaint. Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, he's the one who pursued this complaint. And now I say likewise, thank you, Councilman Newton, thank you, Councilman Anita Martinez, for what you wanted to do in terms of helping me to get this matter resolved. And I want to also thank Councilman Andre Baker, State Rep Andre Baker, likewise wrote a letter, okay, to the Human Rights Commission indicating to them that they wanted him to pursue this matter pertaining to my civil rights being violated by state and city officials. No one is above the law. And that's why I say to you, okay, let it bring this stuff to light. And it's going to be brought to light when the Human Rights Commission gets through with their investigation. So again, as I said, Governor Lamont and also Joe Ganim is being subpoenaed or being summoned. I don't know what you want to call it, how do you want to call it, but they're being notified. Okay, they were notified as of the 6th of last month. The 6th of last month, and then where we at now? The 15th? I mean, so it shows that they got the file, they got the complaints, they're pursuing my allegations of what I meant about these people involved in them violating the public trust, and yes, they should be pursued, and it should be some kind of justice, some kind of action taken against them if what I'm saying is true. Thank you for listening to the show again. It's not my producer who basically been involved with me doing what I've been doing. I've been telling them how I want it done, and I paid them to do it the way I want it done, and that's the reason why it's called a Cecil Young Show, paid by Cecil Young out of my own pockets for 3 years, because a dear good grace of God could be you next. And that's why I want the public to know that we can fight back. I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to get my justice that's been denied. Thank you for listening to the show. Tune in again next week as the best is still yet to come.